really like Gran Turismo, but I was never able to drift in it. Today we're gonna do just that. We're gonna start with the A86, because this car, as it's tuned, it doesn't have a lot of power. It just has basically a turbo. We're gonna have a fully customizable differential set at 60, because it's basically the way to do it. We have a fully customizable manual transmission, so we're gonna leave it at 200. This car doesn't have a lot of torque, and basically that will be it. First attempt. Let's see what it does, and nope. Let's try again. A little bit better. The car doesn't have any sensibility basically in the middle of the steering. Doesn't have any grip at all. Well, we are going with comfort hards, and basically it grabs the grip and goes out. Try again. Nope. Nope. Bit difficult right now. Let's change some settings in the car to see what we can do. So what we're gonna do, make the front more stiff. We're gonna go with the comfort soft, and we'll make the rear springs a little softer. I think the lower number is the softer one. A little more understeer, but it still doesn't have what I want. Much better control. Doesn't have any power. That's basically the biggest thing here. It doesn't have any power at all. So you can do a power slide and release the grip of the rear tires just by doing, you know, throttle control. You need to really upset this car. Okay, much better. Wow, I'm drifting. Not very well, but, you know, well. Let's change to comfort mediums to see what happens. Maybe the medium is a medium term we can use. Still needs more torque, but it's definitely better. It still needs more torque, and the car just slides over it. The front still needs to be stiffer. Okay, we're gonna stance the car, see what happens. Maybe we have a little more control. Okay, with all the changes. Okay, I'm liking this. It's still not perfect. It doesn't have the torque, and it lacks some finesse, I guess. But it's progress. Okay, it's not the best drift, but it is indeed a drift. I'm liking this. I really like Tsukuba for training drifting because of all the successive corners. Oh yes. It still doesn't have the torque. I think we should play around with the torque a little bit. Whoa. Needs a little bit finesse on the setup. Yeah, I'm liking this. I think this setup is the way to go. We just need a little bit more torque. See turn 1 again. I could be more aggressive into it, because this thing has no torque. The problem is when it wants to come back, it comes back in a force, or it just does that and becomes very lazy. Sadly, on Gran Turismo 7, we have to go to the tuning shop. In 5 and 6, you could do it basically from the racing menu. Gonna try to buy both the low and medium RPM turbochargers. We definitely need the muffler. There we go. Much better, but it kind of feels like the center is still super weird, very vague. The tires, my biggest issue thus far has been with the tires, because the tires seem like you have the slip angle and then it just has nothing, has no feathering from the slip angle, so you don't have a big window to play with them, especially when you're trying to go sideways. They're both very restrictive and then become too sensitive, so it needs a little bit more feathering, I guess. That's why basically it's kind of easier to drift with harder compounds. It still needs some work on the suspension. However, we're going to try another car. We're going to probably use one that has a little more potential for drifting, which is this Sylvia S15. It's just mildly tuned. Probably around the same power, but it feels like the turbo is more in tune with the revs. So it has more torque, more usable torque. It's not all or nothing like the 86. And, you know, you can really feel that in the control of the car. The tires are a little bit harder, so it's mediums instead of comfort softs. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's also the suspension. I haven't done any work in the suspension. The other suspension wasn't worked until I started messing about, so I can drift. With the Silvia, if you leave the stock settings on the fully customizables, it works. Oh, this definitely works. I kind of feel like it just needs a slightly bit more power. My manges still need to improve. Need more power, I think, in the steering wheel. Oh, yes. I mean, this compared with what I was doing in the 86, it feels like I'm a drifting god, which is not the case. But, you know, this is pretty nice. We probably need a little more torque, a little more power, and that's it. Back at the shop, let's get some power in this. So we're gonna get a racing crankshaft. We're definitely gonna get some stroke up. We get more torque out of that. Engine balancing. We definitely need more noise. Racing intercooler. Oh, definitely much better in the control. And the Angry Bees at the back. A little bit of a mungie here. It's able to control really well. Really nice response from the turbo. It's not all or nothing, so I'm pretty happy with this. I mean, I'm not gonna say this is a perfect drift car because it's definitely not set up to be a perfect drift car because I haven't set it up. But you know what? Fully customizable suspension with stock settings works rather well. And you can definitely go sideways with this. I have this pink Supra and I would like to know what I can do with it. Think this car is too powerful for its own good? Oh my god. I can drift this! Taking the lessons we learned from the 86. Right, the Supra. This is the car that essentially made me drive or try to drift in Gran Turismo 7. You know what? It's not bad. It's not as smooth as the Silvia. But not bad at all. It's definitely set up for speed. I think the gearing is a bit too long. Because I'm doing these corners at third gear instead of like second as I should be. And it's still on, it's on an awkward level of torque delivery. So I either make it longer or I make it shorter. It can't be like that. But in terms of handling, it is not bad. It's not perfect. Once again, it's set up for something else, and we've just done something on the differential and made it just the front a little bit stiffer. And more camber, of course. But you know what? Not bad. Man, the big girl can drift. That's it. I'm not unhappy with this. Last change, instead of using the transmission at 270 or 300, we're gonna use it at 320. Probably has a better torque delivery. We're gonna see on the hairpins. Also raise the front a little bit. Definitely a little more understeer. Make the car more controllable. It feels better. You know, I'm still learning. There are, you know, things that I do not know how to drift here. The handling is totally different from Assetto Corsa. That means I just need to get good. It does take a while to get good. And this is basically it. What happens? It's just you lose control of it. The car just keeps sliding around. And it's very difficult to get the car back in control. very vague. That's for me the biggest issue with Gran Turismo 7, and it translates more into drifting. It's the vagueness of the center. Very, very vague in the center. For me, it's all due to the tires, because the tires are very peaky. They grab you, and then they don't feather off when you go past the slip angle. So it makes the tires a little bit unpredictable, and you need to learn your way around the tire. But you know what? This was pretty fun. This came from a situation where I couldn't drift to save my life back last year, up until basically 131, I guess, where they changed all of these physics. Now the game feels much better. It's more predictable to drift. There's still some changes they need to do on the tires. It feels too peaky past the slip angle, so that means it grabs and then it releases everything. There's no gradual decline, and it makes it a little more difficult to control than it needs to be. If they're gonna do it or not, well, it really doesn't depend on me. I'm gonna learn more about drifting and more about setups, and I'll be definitely doing more videos on drifting in Gran Turismo 7. So that means if you enjoyed this video and you see more of this stuff, press subscribe, press like, and also a massive thank you to all of the members of this channel. Without you, this channel isn't possible.